Ladies and gentlemen, Simone Inzaghi has officially left Inter Milan after one last Champions League slap across the face from PSG. Yes, the man who brought domestic trophies and two very painful Champions League runner-up medals is heading for the Saudi Pro League. Because when you've suffered enough in Europe, the only cure is Riyadh. So what happened? Was it mutual respect or a well-timed Saudi bank transfer? Let's dive in before Inzaghi finishes packing his sunscreen. 1. The final match. Goodbye with a 5-0 hug from PSG. Inter Milan's last dance with Inzaghi was less of a final and more of a funeral. A 5-0 battering by PSG. You know it's over when your team ends the season looking like they just discovered football 2 hours before kickoff. PSG treated that final like a training drill, and Inter like cones on the pitch. 5-0 in a Champions League final, that's not a scoreline, that's a resignation letter in disguise. At this point, Inter fans hear Champions League final and just start dry heaving on instinct. Inzaghi's tactical plan clearly had a step missing, right between win the midfield battle and don't collapse completely. After conceding the fifth goal, Simone probably looked at the dugout and whispered, "Yeah, I'm taking that Al Hilal call. Even VAR didn't bother getting involved. They saw enough pain already." And let's be honest, by the 80th minute, even the cameramen had given up. One of them was just zooming in on Inzaghi's blank stare like it was a scene from a documentary called How Football Broke Me. It wasn't just a defeat, it was a cinematic meltdown. All that was missing was dramatic violin music and a slow-motion shot of a tear rolling down a fan's cheek in the stands. 2. The departure statement. Mutual respect, mutual regret. President Morata gave the classic "we thank him for everything" speech, which in football terms means, "Bro, we love you, but it's time to go before fans start printing shirts that say Inzaghi out." And Inzaghi, he dropped a goodbye message longer than most people's wedding vows, full of love, tears, and that one line every Italian coach must say, "I gave everything." Morata said it was a frank discussion. Translation, they both stared at the 5-0 scoreline in silence and nodded. Inzaghi said he'll never forget the fans. Well, neither will the fans, especially that guy who watched both Champions League finals with a broken TV and a shattered soul. Reading his statement was like reading a breakup letter where both people agree to stay friends but secretly block each other the next day. Inzaghi mentioned trust and gratitude more than most politicians do in campaign speeches. The only thing missing was a dramatic music score in the background. It's touching, it really is. But we all know this ending was sponsored by Al Hilal's salary offer. And let's not pretend Inter didn't have that pre-written farewell graphic saved as a Photoshop file named InzaghiOutFinal.psd. They probably had it ready to go at halftime. The moment the fourth goal went in, some intern pressed export JPEG and said, "It's time." 3. The Saudi adventure. From Serie A to Riyadh FC. So where does a manager go after back-to-back Champions League heartbreaks, a domestic trophy drought, and one too many tactical overthinks? Saudi Arabia, of course. Inzaghi is expected to join Al Hilal, because if you can't beat Mbappe, wait for him to join your league and coach from a beach lounger. Al Hilal reportedly made a transformational offer. Translation, more zeros than Inter had goals in the final. At this rate, the Saudi Pro League is becoming the ultimate European rehab center. Come with your trauma, leave with a yacht. Jorge Jesus left Al Hilal in May, and now Inzaghi walks in like a substitute teacher who also just got divorced. If Inzaghi wins a Saudi Super Cup, it's still not going to erase that 5-0 trauma. But hey, money makes a great therapist. Next season, don't be surprised if his press conferences start with "Salam alaikum" and "Yes, I miss Milan traffic." Saudi fans Googling Inzaghi tactics might accidentally end up on Inter therapy forums. And let's be honest, Inzaghi is going to be living like a footballing sultan. 5-star hotels, gold-plated tactics boards, and enough air-conditioned stadiums to forget what pressure feels like. His biggest challenge now? Figuring out how to tactically adjust to 40-degree heat and players' mood swings. 4. The trophy cabinet. Domestic beast, European bridesmaid. Let's be clear, Inzaghi wasn't a failure. He just had that classic manager syndrome. Dominated Italy, got anxiety attacks in Europe. Serie A title? Check. Coppa Italia? Twice. Supercoppa? 3 times. Champions League final? Well, that's where things got awkward. Inzaghi's trophy cabinet is stacked like a rich man's wine shelf, just missing that rare vintage Champions League. 2 finals in 3 years. That's either elite or masochistic, depending on how you look at it. Inzaghi has more domestic trophies than most managers have suits. But Europe? Europe said, nah, not today. It's like showing up to a wedding twice and watching your team get dumped at the altar both times. Winning Serie A is like being king of your house. Losing the Champions League final is like realizing the neighbors were watching you through the window the whole time. And let's not forget, half those domestic trophies came with Inzaghi screaming instructions like a man trying to order coffee in a thunderstorm. Passion? Yes. Precision? Occasionally. But when it came to the Champions League, the football gods looked at him and said, "Nice try, Simone. But this is Real Madrid and PSG's playground." 5. Serie A. Losing coaches like it's a clearance sale. Inzaghi's exit is just the latest episode in Serie A managerial Hunger Games. First, Conceição was fired by Milan. Then Gasperini took a bow at Atalanta. Now it's Inzaghi's turn. At this rate, the only Serie A coach left might be the ball boy promoted out of panic. It's been one of those summers where Serie A chairmen walk into offices and say, "So, what have you not done for me lately?" Gasperini left. Conceição got dumped. Inzaghi's gone. It's like an Italian opera where the tenors just keep leaving the stage. Milan is playing FIFA career mode with their coaches. Every week, new gaffer. Next up, Zlatan with a whiteboard. Serie A clubs are treating head coaches like iPhones. Replace them every year even if they still work. Inzaghi's farewell is classy, but let's not pretend this wasn't a coordinated manager exodus with secret group chats involved. At this point, Serie A coaching jobs come with less job security than a pirate radio station. You could win a double, invent a new formation, and still get ghosted by the board with a "thank you for your service" fruit basket. It's a miracle the espresso machines in these clubs don't hand you a pink slip with your macchiato. 6. The Club World Cup. We still have that copium. But wait, Inter still has one more shot at redemption, the Club World Cup this summer. Because nothing says bounce back like playing River Plate in Monterrey on a random Tuesday night in Japan. The Club World Cup is like finding a gift card in your drawer after losing your job. Technically useful, but the joy is limited. Monterrey and Urawa Red Diamonds must be licking their lips. No Inzaghi? No problem. Winning the Club World Cup might salvage the season, but only if nobody remembers the 5-0. Inter fans will cheer, but you just know someone in the back will whisper, "Still doesn't erase PSG." This is less about redemption and more about distraction, like applying for new jobs after a messy breakup. And let's be honest, if Inter wins this thing, they're going to milk it like it's the treble. Expect banners, documentaries, limited edition jerseys, and a celebratory tweet that conveniently forgets the part where they got vaporized by Mbappe in Munich. Club World Cup? More like Club World coping mechanism. Closing thoughts. From San Siro to Sand Dunes. So Simone Inzaghi leaves Inter with 6 trophies, 2 heartbreaks, and 1 massive suitcase headed for Saudi Arabia. Will he finally find peace away from the Champions League curse, or will he end up explaining to Al Hilal fans why their defense is allergic to clean sheets? Drop your thoughts in the comments, like if you've ever lost a 5-0 final in life or in FIFA, and subscribe for more football banter. And remember, if you're ever having a bad day, just know that Simone Inzaghi had the best season of his life and still got PSG'd into early retirement.